Hey guys, welcome back to Knowledge Bits for CS. Today we are going to do topic 1.1 Systems in Organization for CS Paper 1. 1.1 Systems in Organization talks about the context in which new systems are created. Suppose you want to create a new system. 1.1 talks about the context in which it will be created. So for planning and system installation, you need to answer these questions. You are making it. What are the requirements that you need to fulfill? Who are you making it for? Why are you making the system? Where is it going to be implemented? Is it going to be implemented in the systems department, or it's a system wide, company wide system? When is it going to be implemented? How long will it take to implement? How does the execution occur? So these questions will be answered in 1.1. New systems, they are very rarely made in a vacuum. So that means there is already going to be a system there, and you're just going to replace the system because the previous system is less efficient, and you have some upgrades which you want to do to the system. uh, when planning a new system, the context in which it is used is very important. By context, I mean the background, the environment, the framework, the setting, the situation. Basically, anything which the system will interact with, or anybody which will interact with the system, should be considered when you're making a new system. So, considerations, two important considerations when you're making a new system: the extent to which the new system and the limitation of the new system. Now, what I mean by the extent of this new system is who all is the new system going to affect? Is it going to affect the employees, the customers, the shareholders, the stakeholders? If it's going to affect the employees, which specific departments is it going to affect? Those departments, we need to conduct surveys in the department to see what they want and what are the expectations and the requirements for the new system, how it will be able to help the employees in their daily life. Now, what I mean, the limitations of the new system, by that, what I mean is, what all, suppose an employee gives too much, have too much expectations. So what is the limitations of the new system? Like, obviously it's not going to be a supercomputer. It's not going to be the worst computer also. So what are the limitations of the new system? This is more of an analytical approaches. So you need to analyze what are the requirements of the people who are working there, the employees of the company. What do they want? What sometimes they don't say it, but what do they actually want? Like what they want is like, okay, I want the color to be changed, but why do I want the color to be changed? You need to understand the deeper meaning of the employees' concerns. Changes are always not easy. They can be very difficult due to some reasons which I have listed below. As I said over here, old system might be faster in certain circumstances. A new system might omit old features. User don't like the change. This happens most often. Uh, might lead to incompatibility. This point will be discussed later in the slides. There might be data loss during the migration, might be expensive, terms of money, as we have two systems running at the same time. All this will come later. By the way, this video will be made into multiple parts, 1.1, because it really covers a wide array of stuff. So right now we will be just covering the system part of it. When changes need to be made, you have to plan the changes, you have to communicate the changes, you have to integrate the changes, and you have to evaluate how the changes have affected the company, and then you need to plan again to remove the negative effects of the system. So yes, before understanding any change, a business needs to have a clear and valid reason and mission for the changing process. If it's like this, if you don't know what the system is being changed for, how will you change the system? sometimes you might change it in a negative effect which disrupts the employee's workflow. So that's what you need to plan. You need to have the exact goal why you're changing the system. You need to then communicate, and then you need to integrate the new system with the old system, and then you need to evaluate how the new system is going. Are the employees using it well? Is it understood well? Stuff like that. Legacy systems in computing. Legacy systems, by word legacy systems, I mean old method or technology, basically an application program that is not in use or supported for today's purchase. Some famous legacy systems I have written here: hardware, software, and computing systems. Hardware is floppy disk, parallel printer cables, connections like P2S, PS2. Software like Windows XP, Windows Vista, Movie Maker, industry specific software, computer systems such as Amiga. Like, I don't think so nowadays you see people using the floppy disk, or I don't think so people will use like the landline. Some people still use it, but most right now use the handphone. So basically, anything that is not supported or available for purchase anymore is a legacy system. Now over here, we come across the concept of merger. Merger is when two companies of the same size, they merge, and then they become one. Some famous mergers are listed below over here. Sorry. Yeah, these are some famous mergers. Now, this is the difference between merger and acquisition. Merger is when a big company buys a smaller company. Yeah, so a merger is when uh, two companies of the relatively same size, they merge together to create one big one. Acquisition is when a bigger company eats up a smaller company, and now they become one company. Merger is a combination of two entities, uh, mostly the same size, into one. Acquisition is when a larger company eats up a smaller company. Mergers can be very tricky if they are across international borders. There are issues such as software compatibility, language differences, time zone, workforce culture differences. We, in terms of mergers, we should always talk about them in terms of computer science context. So language differences, we use the QWERTY keyboard. People in Middle East will use the Arabic alphabet. People in Russia will use their own alphabet. That's for time zone differences. uh, like right now, GMT, I'm 7 hours away from GMT. Greenwich Mean Time, Western Indonesian Border, Indian Standard Time, uh, US time, China just goes by Beijing. But we can see that there is many technical differences. There's language differences, issue of software compatibility. Some companies might be using the very old software, so it might not be like compatible with the newer branch of the company. Now we need to say local software and remote software. Local software is software which you have on the computer, and remote software is, like, suppose what we are going to learn as SaaS. Local and remote, also called SaaS or cloud. You can either buy a program and install it on a particular computer or a set of computers local, or you can buy, rent, or use software that is installed on a computer somewhere else and then use it through the browser or dedicated application called remote. Local software, suppose we can say, is MS Word. Remote software, one example is Netflix. So you paying, but you're using, that's what I said, software as a service. You're using the net the services Netflix provides. So you don't actually have the movies on the computer, but you're logging into the Netflix server and seeing it from there. SAS, or software as a service, is a distribution model in which third party providers host applications, make them available to customers over the internet. It's also known as on demand software. SaaS is web based, so you have to have an internet connection. Cloud based applications via the internet. Partners shoulder the burden of security, availability, and performance, not us. Benefits of being cloud based or SaaS. Uh, wants to minimize its IT responsibility and cost, because you are buying somebody else's, you're using their server space. So therefore it will minimize the IT. It will suit well for the small businesses. Instead of spending the money on server capacity or software licenses, you simply just buy the SaaS subscription on a monthly basis. It also reduces the staff workload because it's handled by the server somewhere else. And if there is less IT infrastructure, you can also buy SaaS. This is some drawbacks of SaaS. Uh, because you physically don't house the server. If something happens, you can't fix it fast enough. Also, security is another concern. Some other server is hosting your data, so do you really trust them? Businesses, government compliance, stuff like that. Connect hosted software, existing on premise apps, because you don't physically host the server, so it's off premise. You're licensing the server. Software integration headaches. Security, as I said, some sensitive company data, data breaches also, since you physically don't cannot respond to them. Depends on the company which you're licensing, the party service provider. Identity and access management uh, are a very big threat. Customers' data can be stolen, employees' data can be stolen. There are a lot of vulnerabilities. This is uh, that description of the good aspects, the white cloud, and the bad aspects, the black cloud of SaaS. Employee mobility, cost savings, scalability, fewer support staff, pay as you go, easier maintenance is all positive aspects of SaaS. Some negative aspects are data corruption and recovery, compliance, providers get acquired, security, availability, geographic location. Like suppose the server is all the way in America and I am all the way in, like, suppose like somewhere in the Middle East. It will take some milliseconds for the data. There's also latency issues, some other stuff like that. So guys, that was all for part one. Watch out for part two for system in organization. Thank you.